Sarah Russell to make her maiden speech.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and thank you all for allowing me this time to make my maiden speech. When I drive around Congleton constituency, I thank my lucky stars that I have the privilege of both living in and representing somewhere so very, very beautiful. It's made up of gorgeous rolling countryside and farmland and hedgerows, and there are oak trees. The farmers work all hours to produce the food that we need. It has views of the giant radio telescope at Jodrell Bank and natural beauty spot Bosley Cloud. It's Arcadia within commuting distance of Manchester, Crewe and Stoke, and I cannot tell you how much I truly love it. The constituency is a growing place, with around 5,000 extra houses in the last few years. The population is divided between the Cheshire market towns of Alsager, Sandbach and Congleton, alongside the larger village of Holmes Chapel and many beautiful smaller villages such as Road Heath, Church Lawton and Goostrey. There can be few more idyllic spots in the country than sitting outside the Swettenham Arms, next to the Lovell Arboretum, overlooking St. Peter's, the archetypal village church. Though each town and village has its own unique character and history, the joys and challenges experienced by the families who live there are often remarkably similar. These include families whose children have special educational needs and disabilities, and who often face extensive challenges getting the diagnoses and support that they need. These families need our help, and I will do everything I can to assist them. I've been pleased to hear the Prime Minister referring in this chamber repeatedly to these difficulties, and I'm confident that he will help us too.
Yeah.
There are also families who will benefit from Labour's potential review of shared parental leave. 54,000 women a year lose their jobs when they are pregnant or on maternity leave. Women actually out-earn men in their 20s. The gender pay gap is in many respects actually a motherhood penalty. Men taking longer periods of paternity leave is a way that we could normalise parental leave and potentially reduce these problems, and I'd like to thank the government for starting the consultation on this imminently. I'd like to pay tribute to campaign groups such as Pregnant Then Screwed, Rights of Women, Dad Shift, Parenting Out Loud, and the TUC and trade unions, who are all doing incredible things in this field. There are also many homeowners in my constituency who have been affected by leasehold and fleecehold problems. They will welcome our planned reforms on these issues, and I intend to contribute to this. They also include older people, often the backbones of our community, who are providing childcare for grandchildren and often volunteering at the same time. But sometimes they're doing so in avoidable pain whilst on NHS waiting lists that are too long. These are just a few of the issues that I intend to apply myself to as MP for Congleton. Madam Deputy Speaker, I'd like to take you now back into Congleton's history. Congleton itself is known as Bear Town. The reason for this is that there is a local story that in the 1600s, the town saved up to buy a new Bible. Shortly after this, and before the summer fete, the local village bear died. So the townsfolk agreed that rather than buy their Bible, they would postpone the purchase and get a new bear with the money instead.
Very wise. Very wise.
Congleton is a very entrepreneurial place across the whole constituency, and many of our small businesses feature references to the bear. It's also in our local iconography everywhere. We have the Beartown Tap, Beartown Beer, and the bear features pretty much everywhere. As does our fantastic statue of Elizabeth Woolstonholme Elmy, which was lobbied for and fundraised for by our local feminists. Elizabeth, who based herself in Congleton from 1874 until her death in 1918, played a significant role in the women's suffrage movement, founding the Women's Social and Political Union and campaigning for women's education and voting rights. I hope I shall be thinking of her often in this place. Another of our most famous local figures, although quite different, is Harry Styles, whose hometown of Holmes Chapel is now appointed pilgrimage for his fans. I'm sure everyone is sorry to hear today of the death of his former bandmate Liam Payne, and we would all want to extend our condolences to his friends and family. Local people have set up a walking trail associated with Harry Styles. If anyone fancies it, I would strongly recommend following it with a stop in any of our local independent businesses on Holmes Chapel High Street, and probably include a drink at the George and Dragon or the Bottle Bank, or both. Both publicans, I know, do a lot of voluntary work within our community. That's common in my constituency, and I know many of yours as well. Whether it's coaching football at Vale Juniors or many of the other community sports clubs, there are too many for me to list. Planting trees and conserving and maintaining our woodland and footpaths like the Sandbach Woodland and Wildlife Group and the similar group in Congleton, helping young people through uniformed groups such as Scouts, Guides and the various Air Cadets, of which some I've visited, running schemes to support men's mental health, such as Goosetree Community Shed, Holmes Chapel Men in Sheds, or the new Sandbach Men Walking and Talking Group, or even a whole community energy power plant, our Congleton Hydro. We have the most amazing set of citizens. I'm so grateful to the fantastic contribution they make to help others, support those who need it, and truly make my constituency the fantastic place that it is. On the topic of contribution, I would like to pay tribute to my predecessor, Fiona Bruce. Congleton has had 3 MPs in its history, all of them women: Anne Winterton, Fiona Bruce, and now me. I know many Christians in the constituency and beyond appreciated Fiona Bruce's advocacy on behalf of the religious community, both in the UK and internationally, in her role as envoy for religious freedom. We have many active local church groups in our community, and they contribute a great deal and very varied set of support. Churches and secular volunteers and organisations, including food banks, food pantries and the Sawmill, are all quietly providing much needed food support within the community. They do this to a far larger number of adults and children than the apparent affluence of the area would superficially lead one to expect. As a discrimination lawyer and someone who went into politics because of the value I place on equality and inclusion, I will continue to advocate for the rights and freedoms of all of my constituents and to celebrate the diversity within our community. In this regard, I want to particularly mention the One World Festival in Alsager, which I attended recently. First established by Margaret Keeling 30 years ago, it celebrates the diversity of nationalities living within the Alsager community with food, activities and lots of performances from local school children. It really is a delight. Thank you, Margaret. Another one of the many achievements of the fantastic volunteers in my constituency is that we have regular Pride events. Congleton held its first Pride round about 5 years ago, and I must pay tribute to Richard Walton and Ronan Clayton and all those who were involved in setting it up. It's now ably chaired by Malcolm Pope, who is taking it from strength to strength. The excellent curator Anna Mallock put on a Pride exhibition in Congleton Museum, hosting photos from those early events and featuring art from the local LGBTQIA+ community. Since then, more Pride events have grown in Sandbach, Alsager, and for the first time this summer, Holmes Chapel. At one of these events, it was suggested to me that these are really just a family fun day, a village fete, if you will. And it's true that the events are fun, fabulous, and family friendly. But beyond the live music and bright clothing remains a serious message. The hard-working volunteers who make these Pride events happen do so in the face of repeated homophobic hate crimes. Similarly, for women, there's still a backdrop of fear attendant in many women's daily lives. Women in my constituency have written to me or spoken to me about their experiences of sexual violence. I'd like to say to the young women who talk to me, and you know who you are, I will be fighting for you and for all young people in this place every day. Yeah. That includes, in particular, by ensuring that as we embrace new technology and innovation, as we have done this week at the International Investment Summit, that we find new ways to protect people from new threats. Whether it's people looking at tractors in their workplace on their smartphones in this workplace, or AI baking in discriminatory decision-making, new technologies unfortunately also bring the new potential for harassment, discrimination and abuse, and we mustn't be caught off guard. We need to get on the front foot with this. My constituency has a long history of developing new technologies. The constituency boundary bisects the site of Jodrell Bank, the amazing radio telescope. Sandbach was the proud home of ERF and Foden's trucks, with the first Foden traction engine built in Sandbach in 1881, and that was later followed by production of heavy goods vehicles for 150 years. The history and heritage of Foden still runs through the blood of the town, with the annual Transport Festival and its incredible parade of vintage trucks, wagons, classic cars, and there's even the odd plane on the common. And of course, born out of the works in 1902, I have to mention that my constituency is home to one of the world's leading brass bands, Foden's Band, who have twice won and twice come runners-up in the National Brass Band Championships of Great Britain. I will work across this House to stand up for the incredible, entrepreneurial, community-minded people and businesses of the beautiful place that is Congleton constituency. And lastly, I'd like to say some thank yous. Thank you to the volunteers who helped me to get here and continue to support me. I am very grateful. That includes those from the Labour Party, and I also want to make a special mention of the Fabian Women's Mentoring Scheme. Finally, thank you to my adored family who are in the gallery today. When I'm in Westminster, I miss you so much. I hope I do all of you proud.